Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about the history of the Olympics. In this presentation, we will go over the history of ancient games and modern games. We will understand the purpose of the Olympics, and the history of the famous flag and torch. We will also discuss the politics affecting the Olympics and the advantages of hosting it. Finally, we will talk about some cheating scandals and go over the cheating dilemma. Hope you enjoy it. Let's start with the history of the Olympics. The Olympic Games originated in Greece about 3,000 years ago. The Games were later revamped in the 19th century to match the modern days. The ancient Olympics were held from the 8th century BC to the 4th century AD. The Games were held every 4 years in Olympia in honor of the god Zeus. It is also believed that Hercules, the son of Zeus, and the mortal woman Alcmene, founded the Olympic Games. And, by the end of the 6th century BC, the Games became the most famous Greek sporting festival. Moving on to the purpose of the Games. The ancient Olympics were held every 4 years between August 6th and September 19th during a religious festival honoring Zeus. In fact, the 1896 Games featured the first Olympic marathon, which followed the 25-mile route run by the Greek soldier who brought news of a victory over the Persians from Marathon to Athens. During the Olympic Games, all fighting stopped. Every soldier on the battlefield put down their weapons and traveled to Olympia to compete in or watch athletic games to honor Zeus and the other Greek gods. The Olympic Games were a religious festival. The Greeks considered it their religious duty to attend the Games. Let me also tell you some more interesting facts about the Olympics. Many of the best athletes participating in the Olympic Games, and with the truce in place, these soldier athletes were free to compete in the Games and then return to fighting when the Games had finished. Not all athletes were soldiers, as the Olympic Games showcased the athletic talents of men who were not soldiers. This allowed city-states to celebrate heroes and role models who might not be the best fighters. The Olympics of ancient Greece weren't the same Olympics that is worldwide as we have today, as only Greek men could participate and there were only 9 sports: boxing, discus, equestrian sports, javelin, jumping, pancration, running, wrestling, and pentathlon. After the Roman Empire conquered Greece in the mid-2nd century BC, the Games continued, but their standards and quality declined. In 67 AD, Emperor Nero entered the Olympic chariot race. But he disgraced himself by declaring himself the winner even after he fell off his chariot during the event. Then, a Roman emperor named Theodosius I banned the Olympic Games and ordered his soldiers to destroy the temple of Zeus, and the Games stopped for over 1,000 years. Now let's see how the modern Olympics started. After 1,500 years, Baron Pierre de Coubertin of France revived the Olympic Games. Baron was dedicated to the promotion of physical education, and he became inspired by the idea of creating a modern Olympic Games. Baron's original idea was to start the modern Games in 1900 in Paris, but delegates from 34 countries allowed him to move the Games up to 1896 and have Athens serve as the first host. Did you also know that the Olympic flag has a story behind it? Baron Pierre de Coubertin developed the modern Olympic rings, and it was first used in 1920. They symbolize the 5 continents athletes travel from to compete. The Americas are combined into one: Australia, Europe, Asia, and Africa. They interlock, which is symbolic of the Games bringing everyone together. The Olympic torch also goes way back, as Dr. Karl Diem invented the Olympic torch in Germany. However, the modern torch relay was inspired by ancient Greek drawings. Diem created the first relay from Olympia to Berlin as part of the opening ceremony of the 1936 Olympic Games. Historians believe that the Olympic flame was first invented by the ancient Greeks to honor Hera, the powerful queen of the mythological gods. The ancient Greeks respected the flame and positioned it facing the sun. A priest must light the flame, and the flame is then carried to the public ceremony and handed to the first runner. This first runner must carry the flame to the top of the monument in which the heart of Baron de Coubertin, the founder of the modern Olympic Games, is buried. The Olympic flame symbolizes the continuity between the ancient and modern Games. On the opening day of the Games, the torch is taken into the stadium and a chosen person lights the torch. This ritual symbolizes the continuity between ancient times and the new generations. The Olympic flame is lit during the ceremony, which is held at the site of the first Olympic Games out of respect and honor for ancient Olympia, Greece. Now let's compare the modern and ancient Olympic Games. The ancient Olympic Games allowed only males to participate. Features: the Olympic truce was all for religious purposes, but only men and unmarried women were allowed to attend. Also, winners were awarded a crown of olive leaves. There were no Winter Olympics, and it was held in Olympia. The modern games, however, allows males and females to participate. There is no Olympic truce, the games are secular, everyone is invited to attend and watch the games. Winners are presented with medals in gold, silver, and bronze. The Olympics is an athletic competition. Winter Olympics in place, there is an international hosting for the event. Now let's look at the political events affecting the games since the opening of the first modern Olympic Games in 1896. The competition has only been cancelled 3 times. Once during World War I in 1916 and twice during World War II in 1940 and 1944. The 2020 COVID-19 outbreak postponed the Summer Olympic Games for a year. The Olympics were also cancelled during World War II as the Summer and Winter Olympics of 1940 were both scheduled to be held in Japan, but Japan forfeited its rights in 1937 when it went to war with China. In 1940, the Games were rebooked for Finland in the summer and for Germany in the winter, but it was also cancelled in 1939 when Hitler invaded Poland. 20 years after the Olympics was cancelled, Germany was due to host the Olympics in 1936, this time under the Nazi flag. Western countries wanted to boycott the Olympics in Berlin as they were disgraced by Germany's racist policies and human rights violations. However, 49 countries attended the Games in Berlin, which was the most countries to attend any Olympic Games. During the Melbourne 1956 Olympic Games, the Suez Crisis in the Middle East was happening and Israel invaded the Sinai Peninsula in the same year. Egypt, Lebanon, and Iraq boycotted the Games to protest against the invasion. Meanwhile, a few weeks before the opening ceremony, the Soviet army invaded Hungary. Netherlands, Spain, and Switzerland also pulled out of the Games in protest of the USSR invasion. In 1972 the Olympic Games were held in Germany when a Palestinian terrorist attack took place. On September 5, 1972, 8 terrorists entered the Olympic Village and killed 2 members of the Israeli team. The incident resulted in 2 killings of Israeli hostages, 8 deceased from the Palestinian terrorists, and 1 German police officer killed on the scene. Let's look at the advantages and disadvantages of hosting the Olympics. Hosting the Olympics can increase tourism for the hosting country, boosting the economy. The Olympics will also increase a host country's global trade and investment as it will be globally spoken of. When hosting the Olympics, the country creates a sense of national pride for itself. However, hosting the Olympics causes a burden on the people of the hosting country as the Olympics force the hosting cities to create expensive infrastructure and buildings to match the Olympics theme. Therefore, the Olympics are a financial drain on hosting countries. There are also some cheating scandals at the Olympics that you can't miss. Cheating at the Olympics began in ancient Greece in 67 CE when Roman Emperor Nero used bribes to allow him to compete, as the early games were limited to Greeks. He also used bribery in the 4-horse chariot races. He was allowed to compete with 10 horses. He is recorded announcing himself as a winner even though he fell from the chariot and did not complete the event. During the 1904 Olympics in Missouri, American runner Fred Lorz decided to rest after the mid-marathon after completing only 9 miles. He then took a ride for the next 11 miles. Lorz was declared the winner of the event. However, his cheating was discovered, and Thomas Hicks was declared the winner. Also, in 1984 and during the Los Angeles Olympic Games, Madeline DeJesus hurt herself while competing in the long jump, so she sent her identical twin sister Margaret DeJesus to compete instead. The Puerto Rican Olympics team discovered what they'd done and disqualified the entire team from the Olympics. In 1936, Berlin Olympics, the Nazi Party ordered Horst to pose as a woman and compete as Dora for the sake of the honor and glory of Germany. Horst was forced to live the life of a female athlete for 3 years. That's everything for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us what other topics you want covered. Thank you for watching.